Okay, I have to tell you something that happened this morning, and I am a little embarrassed about it. But I think a lot of people are going to recognize themselves in this.
Okay, go ahead.
So I was getting ready to leave the house. I was running late, already stressed, and my mom walked in and asked me a completely normal question. She said, "Did you eat anything today?" And I said, very quickly, very sharply, "I am fine. I do not have time." And I walked out without really looking at her.
Okay.
And then, maybe 20 minutes later, I was at the coffee shop. I ordered my drink. The person at the counter made it wrong. They used regular milk instead of oat milk. And I said, completely calmly, "Oh, I am so sorry to bother you. Would you mind making it with oat milk? Thank you so much." And I smiled.
You apologized for their mistake.
I apologized for their mistake. Warmly. And 20 minutes earlier, my mom, who raised me and loves me and was just asking if I had eaten, got a sharp, "I do not have time."
That is a very specific kind of contrast.
It bothered me the whole drive in. Like, what is wrong with me? Why am I so much more patient with a complete stranger than with the person I love?
And the answer, it turns out, is not that you are a bad person.
Good. I hope not.
The answer involves a few different things that are all happening at the same time. And I think when you understand why this pattern exists, you can actually do something about it. So, let us talk about it.
Please, explain me to myself.
Okay, so the first reason is what some researchers call the performance theory. When you are around people you do not know, a barista, a coworker, someone you just met, you are performing a version of yourself. Not in a fake way, just in the sense that you are conscious of how you come across.
I do notice that I choose my words more carefully with people I do not know well.
Right, you are making small decisions. What tone do I use? Am I being clear? Does this come across the right way? There is a layer of awareness that is always running, and that awareness requires effort and energy.
It is actually a little tiring when you think about it that way.
It is. Now here is the key thing. With people you feel completely safe with, your mom, your partner, your best friend, that layer of awareness shuts off. Not because you stop caring about them, but because your brain registers, "This person knows me well. This relationship is stable. I do not need to manage how I come across right now."
So the performance stops.
The performance stops, and what comes out instead is your unfiltered self. The version that is tired or stressed or impatient. The version that does not choose its words because it does not feel like it needs to.
And there is actually a phrase in English for this. Let your guard down. Has everyone heard this?
Probably. Let us explain it anyway. Your guard, G-U-A-R-D, is the part of you that stays careful and controlled in social situations. When you let your guard down, you stop being careful. You relax. You stop filtering what comes out.
And letting your guard down is actually a good thing in general. It means you feel safe. It means you trust someone. You do not want to be constantly on with the people you love.
Right. Healthy relationships have room for your imperfect, unguarded self. You should be able to relax around your family. The problem is not the relaxing. The problem is when the unguarded version of you is also the unkind version.
When relaxing means snapping.
Exactly. When your idea of being comfortable with someone is being less considerate of them.
So, what is the second reason?
The second reason is about energy. Think about your average morning before you even got to the coffee shop. How many times did you have to hold back a reaction?
Okay, someone cut in front of me while I was merging. An email came in that was unclear and a little annoying. I spilled something.
Every time you stayed calm when you wanted to react, every time you held something back, you were spending a kind of energy. Researchers sometimes call it emotional regulation, and you only have a certain amount of it at one time.
And by the time my mom asked me about breakfast, I had already spent most of it.
Already spent most of it. Not on anything dramatic, just on the ordinary friction of the day. And then someone asked you a simple question, and there was nothing left. So what came out was raw and unregulated.
Emotionally drained. That is the phrase, right?
Yes, emotionally drained. Emotionally means related to your feelings. Drained means completely used up, like a battery at zero. When you are emotionally drained, your ability to be patient and kind is just gone for the moment.
And this is important. Emotionally drained is an explanation, not an excuse.
That is exactly right. An explanation helps you understand what happened. An excuse is when you use the explanation to avoid taking responsibility. I was emotionally drained explains why I snapped. It does not mean snapping was okay.
Right. I could have taken a breath. I could have just said, "Yes, I ate. I am running late. I love you." That was available to me. I just did not do it.
Right. And that leads to the third reason, which is the one I think most people find uncomfortable to hear.
Taking someone for granted.
Taking someone for granted. This is a very common English phrase, take for granted. Can you break it down?
To take someone for granted. Take, T-A-K-E, for granted, G-R-A-N-T-E-D, means to assume that someone or something will always be there, and because of that assumption, to stop appreciating them or putting effort in.
If you take someone for granted, you treat their presence in your life as guaranteed. You stop noticing them, stop being grateful, stop putting in the extra effort, because somewhere in the back of your mind, you believe they are not going anywhere.
And we almost never take strangers for granted.
Right. With the barista, there was something at stake. If you were rude, there might be a small consequence. The interaction felt like it mattered. So you put the effort in.
But with my mom, somewhere, even without saying it, I think I assumed she will always be there. She will always love me. She will always understand if I am short with her. So the urgency to be kind right now was low.
And that assumption is understandable, but also dangerous, because people have limits. Even the most loving, patient people can feel over time that they are getting the leftover version of someone, the version after everything and everyone else has been taken care of.
And they might never say it directly, but they feel it.
They feel it, and it changes the relationship slowly. Not in one dramatic moment, just things become a little more distant. The warmth gets harder to find, and often you only notice it when there is real distance there.
Or when you lose them. And then you would give anything for one more conversation where you actually showed up.
Yes.
Okay, I want to say something for anyone listening who is on the receiving end of this. If you are the person who always gets the short version, the impatient version, the distracted version, the version after everything else has already happened, this episode might be a little difficult to hear.
Because it explains why, but it does not make it okay.
Right. Understanding why someone snaps at you all the time does not mean you have to accept it. If the people you love consistently give their kindness to strangers and their irritation to you, that is something worth talking about.
And most of the time, the person doing it genuinely does not realize they are doing it. I honestly think the pattern is mostly invisible to the person creating it.
I would not have described myself as someone who is nicer to strangers than to family, but the behavior was there. I needed to see the contrast clearly to notice it.
So let us talk about what you can actually do.
First, Notice it. Just pay attention for a few days. After you have an interaction with someone you do not know, a cashier, a coworker, a neighbor, notice how you were. What tone did you use? How much effort did you put in? Then compare that to your last interaction with someone you love.
Second, add the pause back in. When you are with family, you often react immediately without choosing. When you are with strangers or colleagues, you almost always pause slightly, even without knowing you are doing it. That half second is available to you with everyone. You just have to choose to use it.
The pause is not about being fake or overly polite. It is just, let me decide what I actually want to say, instead of just letting out whatever is right at the surface.
Third, and I think this is the most important, treat the interaction like it matters. Because it does.
With the barista, I thought, this moment counts. So I was present. I made a choice. With my mom, I treated the conversation as background noise. Something to get through on the way to the rest of my day.
But every interaction with someone you love is a moment that counts. Not just the big ones, the celebrations and the important conversations. The small ones too. The, did you eat? And the, how was your day? And the, I am going to bed. Those are where most of a relationship actually lives.
And the small moments are exactly where this pattern shows up most. It is not the big conversations where you snap at family. It is the quick ones, the ones in between everything else.
So the goal is not to perform for your family. You do not need to be polished and careful the same way you are with strangers. You just need to be present, to register the moment as real, to remember that the person in front of you is not background.
Bring the care home. Not the performance, the care.
Let your guard down. Just do not let your kindness go with it.
I called my mom on the way in this morning, by the way. I said I was sorry for being short with her. She said she was not worried about it. But I think she was glad I called.
I think she was.
Okay, to bring it all together. We are nicer to strangers because we perform for them, because we have more patience left over for them, and because we take the people closest to us for granted. The fix is not to treat family like strangers. It is to bring the consideration home, to pause before you react, to treat the small moments with the people you love as moments that are worth showing up for.
Because they are worth it. Probably more than anyone else.
Start with one moment today. One small conversation with someone you love. Give them the version of you that you would give to someone whose opinion you cared about.
Their opinion matters too. It just does not always feel urgent.
Make it urgent. Thank you for listening, everyone. Take care of yourselves.
See you next time.